Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Marilyn Darling Show, and welcome to another episode of Pen Calligraphy 101. Today, we are going to be looking at the basic strokes of the minuscule letters of the alphabet. So, we know we have our pen, we have our ink. Hopefully by now it's been 5 days. Give you enough time to order something on Amazon and have it delivered. You should have a clean nib and your pen ready to go. Let's see, you should know that you should tilt your page so that the guidelines go towards your shoulder, so that way you can pull easily. You should have a dinky tip with some ink. The worst thing that could possibly happen to a calligrapher happened to me yesterday, and I cannot emphasize this enough by telling you to use the dinky dip, because otherwise this may happen to your carpet. So, just trust me when I tell you, use the dinky dip, because cleaning this much sumi ink off your carpet it would probably put you in hysterics. But I had a jar that was almost this big, full of sumi ink, and just all over my carpet. There's pictures on my Instagram at Marilyn Darling if you want to go see that mess catastrophe. I want to talk today about the minuscules. What are the minuscules? The minuscules are the lowercase letters and the parts that make them. So today we're going to talk about the basic strokes. Okay, so the basic strokes are made up. The minuscule letters are. Let's do the minuscule. Minuscule means little. So, parts of the letters. So, when you're writing on a line, this is your basic everyday line. Right? And the X height is half of that. But for practice purposes, we're going to use we're going to pretend that this is this line here, okay? This is equal to this, okay? Alright, so this is our x height. And what that means is this is the amount of space that your x should take up. Okay? So, we're going to start off with the basic strokes. The basic strokes are as follows. They are the upstroke, the hard downstroke, the tall hard downstroke, the overturn, the underturn, the compound curve, the reverse compound curve, the oval, the reverse oval, the ascending stem loop, the descending stem loop, sorry about that. Let's tilt this so you can see what's actually going on here. Dang it. Technology is failing me at this moment. So, the upstroke, the downstroke, tall downstroke, the overturn, the underturn, the compound curve, the reverse compound curve, the oval, the reverse oval, the ascending stem loop, the ascending stem loop, the descending stem loop, the reverse descending stem loop, the descending stem. Okay. We're gonna go 2 down, and we're gonna mark off our x height. There is going to be the K stroke, the R stroke, the S stroke, the Z stroke, the descending Z stroke, the tittle, the cross, and the dash. Now, most of you are looking at these and you're like, what in the heck is going on? None of this makes sense so far. Once we get into... Oh, I'm sorry, one more. There's the connecting stroke. I was like, I'm missing one of these. Okay, so there's the connecting stroke. Then we have the more complicated is the connecting stroke, which is like a compound curve that is coming from another letter. And then we'll have the double overturn, and then the double underturn, and then we'll have the reverse no, sorry. The double compound curve. Double overturn, double underturn, double compound curve. And I will show you why we have these Okay, later on. So let's try and see how we can put these letters together to make these characters, these strokes together to make a letter. Let's drop 2 down. Let's mark off our X height. Now just remember that when you're going up, you want to go light up and hard down. So you want to put light pressure and hard pressure. Okay, so when we're making the A is comprised of 3 of these strokes. It is comprised of the upstroke, the oval. Oops, and you notice that my ink blooped out onto the page. This is something that you will have to get used to, because it is going to happen. There's no ifs, buts, or about it. It is going to happen. So you just start again. Just upstroke, oval, and an underturn. And there you've made an A. So the B would be an upstroke, an ascending stem loop, and a reverse oval, and an upstroke. You always want to end with an upstroke that either comes to the quarter height. So if this, let's see, if this is the baseline, this is the X height, this is the second ascender, this would be the first ascender, and this would be the quarter height. 1/4 height. First ascender, and the second line up here would be the second ascender. And this line down here would be the baseline. And then we go the first descender, and the second descender. Okay. Alright, so when we do, let's drop 2 down, mark off our X height, an A would come up. An A, there's many rules, but the first rule that you'll have to know is that anytime that you're connecting to an oval, you only go up to the quarter height. So right here, I'm in the middle, I'm going up to the quarter height, and I'm going to make an oval. So I'm going to go up, over, around, and then press a little bit, release, and then come back up. Right to that point, okay? And you're going to see right here, there is a little dot. Now the aim of the next stroke is to hide that dot. So we're going to take our pen, and we're going to go up to the X height, we're going to press, and we're going to go right through that dot, let up, into an upstroke. Okay. A B, a B would be an upstroke, an ascending stem loop, a reverse oval, and an upstroke. Or you can do an upstroke, an ascending stem loop, and we're going to make it into an underturn, into a connecting stroke. So some of the letters might have two of the different strokes combined into one stroke. You have the ascending stem loop, and then we have an underturn. Okay? The next thing that the next letter is C. The C is comprised of a spiral. So we're going to do an upstroke. And because we're connecting to an oval-shaped letter, we're going to start on the side. We're going to go up, over, around, down, press, let up, and then into an upstroke. See how we did the B? This is the connecting stroke, but right here, this is the connecting stroke. Depending on what your next letter is, will depend on how far up this upstroke goes. So, D would be an upstroke because we're connecting to an oval. We only go a quarter way. Then we're going to do an oval, press, release, come back up to that D, that beginning point. And we're going to do an ascending stem loop into an underturn. And we're going to hide that little dot by going right through it on our way down. And you should have a little tiny triangle right there. You should also have a little tiny triangle right there. The same goes for here, and here, and here. And these should be about the same size. You should also have one here, and there. Okay? The E is an upstroke. Let's move our camera. The E is comprised of an upstroke, a dash, and a C stroke. Or an oval into an upstroke. Partial oval into an upstroke. An F is one of the most complicated letters. You're going to go upstroke, an ascending stem loop into a reverse descending stem loop. Ascending stem loop, reverse descending stem loop into an upstroke. You should always do your upstroke just past where the bowl of your ascending or descending stem loops, because that is where the next letter is going to happen. And depending what your next letter is will depend on how big you make this upstroke. G is an upstroke because we're going into an oval. We're only going to go quarter way. We're going to go oval, hide that little thing there, go up, and then we're going to press, go right through that, make a descending stem loop into an upstroke. Did you see right here where I got caught? My nib dug into the page as I was coming up. That means that I was putting too much pressure in the downward position. So you want to make sure that when you're doing your G's that you try and release as much pressure as possible by the time you get to that baseline, so that way you have a nice, smooth, round bowl, and then an upstroke. I call this a bowl. an oval. And in each of these, you should be able to see ovals. Like here's an oval, here's an oval, here's an oval, here's an oval, so forth and so on. Alright, let's drop 2 down and let's mark off our X height. Let's do an H. H is an upstroke, an ascending stem loop, and a compound curve. Notice how I come away from the ascending stem loop as soon as I hit the baseline to make the compound curve. This, you should try and go, because if you weren't to come away from the ascending stem loop, it would look like this, and this is not what we want. This is one of the only letters that you're gonna kind of space out this leg. Otherwise, you're gonna want to do a compound curve. So we're gonna do upstroke, ascending stem loop, come down, release, come away from the compound curve. You go up, and then as you reach the top, we're going to press, and then right in the quarter height, we're going to release the pressure, come down, we should be at a back at a hairline, and then come back up to the X height. Okay? It's very complicated, but once you get the hang of it, you're going to fly through these like no one's business. It's going to be the best time. Alright, the I is comprised of 3 strokes. It's an upstroke, press, release, underturn, and a tittle. Okay, that's what the little dot is called. It's called a tittle. Alright, so now we're going to make a J. The J is an upstroke. And we're going to press, come down, make a descending stem loop, release, and then we're going to make an upstroke. And again, tittle your J. Okay. Now we're going to make a K. K is an upstroke, an ascending stem loop, release. Then we're going to come away and up, around and in, and out, down, and up. The K loop is one of the most complicated strokes that you're going to have to encounter. Another way to do the K loop is an upstroke, an ascending stem loop, an arc with a little ball serif into an underturn. Okay? So you're kind of making an over. Instead of an upstroke, we're making an overstroke. L is an upstroke, an ascending stem loop, into an underturn. Alright. Let's drop 2 down and mark off our X height. X height. Okay, M is pretty easy. It's an overturn, and a compound curve. Okay? Each one of these should have the same space in the middle of them. This is kind of off, but overturn, compound curve. Okay? Depending on what letter you'll go into will depend on how high this leg goes. Okay, the N is more simpler than the M. It's an overturn and a compound curve. Now, you shouldn't do this. This is like an S shape. Don't do that. Okay, so you want to go up, over, around, down, up, over, around, down, and then come right back up. There should not be a wiggle. It should be just like this. Up, over, around, down, up, over, around, down, and up. Okay? The letter O is an upstroke, an oval, and a connecting stroke. So we're going to come up, we're going to make an oval, come down, press, release, come back up, and you're going to come just above the 3/4 height, make a little ball serif, and come out. Okay? How long have I been yammering on for? 26. Alright, so let's take a look. Let's get another sheet because that one's probably going to take a little while to dry. Alright, so now let's do the letter P. Let's drop 2 down, mark off our X height. We're going to go, this is an upstroke, a hard downstroke, and a reverse oval. And then another upstroke. Remember that depending on what the next letter is will depend on how high this goes. The other way that you can do a P is you can do an upstroke, a hard descending stem, and a compound curve. That's what you would call a copper plate P. Another way to do a P is you go an upstroke into a descending stem loop into an oval, a reverse oval into an upstroke. So there are 3 different types of P's that you could do. Q, Q is an upstroke, an oval, and a descending reverse stem loop. Reverse descending stem loop into an upstroke. The space in here should be the same space in here. So I'm going to redo this. I'm going to go upstroke, oval, reverse descending stem loop, upstroke. And you see here, I didn't connect it. So you want to practice making sure that you connect your letters good. You could even do a hard downstroke and then do connect from there, make like a D shape, and then an upstroke. Okay. Alright, the R, let's drop 2 down and mark off our X height. The R is an upstroke, and then we're going to come above that and we're going to make a little ball. We're going to press down, and we're going to come down and release, and then we're going to go hard downstroke and do an upstroke. So we're basically making a dash into an underturn. So like that. And there's no real you should make this at this angle, as long as you make them at the same angle every time. Consistency is key. Alright, the S is an upstroke. And you're going to come, like you did with the R, you're going to come up. You're going to start thin. Hit that top of that. You're going to make, of that upstroke, you're going to make an S. You're going to press, release, come up, and press. So you're basically going to come up, and you're going to make an S shape. And then you're going to press right at the end to make a little ball. And then you're going to make an upstroke. Alright. T is an upstroke. And then you're going to come almost to the top, but you're going to leave a little space. You're going to come, you're going to press, full press into an underturn. And then at the 3/4 height, you're going to cross. Okay. U is an upstroke into an underturn, into an underturn. Depending on what your next letter is, will depend on how tall that leg goes. Okay, so the next letter is V. We're going to make an elongated compound curve. Kind of like we did with the H. And we're going to make a connecting stroke, which is basically full pressure and letting up and then into an underturn. And you want to make sure that when you do the V, that you don't do this. Okay, that you want to make sure that the dollop of ink is on the inside of that upstroke right there. Okay, so you want to come up, down, up, and then from the inside of that stroke, not the outside. Okay. The W, let's drop 2 down, mark off our X height. The W is the same as the U, only we're going to do an upstroke, an underturn, an underturn. And then we're going to do like we did with the V. We're going to come on the inside, dollop into an underturn. Okay? So you don't want to do this. Okay, don't do that. The X is kind of like an overturn, but instead of coming all the way down to the line, you're going to come in and you're going to make kind of like a cursive S shape, and then you're going to make another, you're going to make basically a C stroke. So you're going to come up, over, press in, and then lightly, you're going to do one shaded and one not. One leg should be shaded, and the other leg should just barely touch it, come out and up. Okay. Of course, you could do an elongated compound curve and then cross it, but you have to cross it in the same direction that your guideline is. And sometimes that can be hard to place where to start and stop at. See, this one was too high. This one was almost perfect, but it takes a lot of practice to do those. These are simpler to do than these. Okay, let's drop 2 down, mark off our X height. Alright, the Y is comprised of a compound curve and a descending stem loop. Now, when you're making the Y, the only thing that you're not going to do is you're not going to do this. You're not going to go... See, that's not cute. So you want to make sure that you come up, around, down, up. What you can do is you can do a compound curve, and then when you come, you can leave just a little tiny space like your maybe a hair space, and then come out just a little bit, maybe a hair's worth. Swoop in lightly, go down, do a swell into a descending stem loop, into an upstroke. So something like that. Okay. The Z is kind of like the X stroke, so we're gonna use the X stroke to do a modified overturn, and then we're going to do a Z descending stem loop, and then we're going to do an upstroke. Now it's all probably starting to make a little bit of sense. So let's take everything that we've learned in this episode and let's try and write a word. So let's drop 2 down, mark off our X height. We're going to write the word the. Upstroke, underturn, a ascending stem loop, compound curve. Because it's connecting to an oval, we're going to do a dash, up, over, around, and up, and cross your T. And then we'll do the quick brown fox, just kind of to give you an idea of what it's supposed to look like. Upstroke, oval, reverse descending stem loop, upstroke, underturn, underturn. Because it's an I, it's an underturn, but we're connecting it to a C, so it's a short underturn. C stroke, ascending stem loop, K loop, underturn, till your I, upstroke, ascending stem loop, reverse oval, upstroke, R stroke, Alexa stop, oval, connecting stroke, underturn, underturn. Again, connecting stroke into a overturn, compound curve. Now you see where that letter comes in handy? Let's drop 2 down, mark off our hex height. Jumps would be upstroke, descending stem loop, upstroke, tittle your J, underturn, underturn, reverse compound curve, so upstroke, underturn, reverse compound curve, overturn, compound curve, descending stem loop, reverse oval, upstroke, S stroke, over will be upstroke, oval, connecting letter into a compound curve. So you see we're going to have connecting stroke into a compound curve, connecting stroke, E stroke, R stroke, upstroke, underturn, ascending stem loop, compound curve, E stroke, cross your T, drop 2 down, mark off your X height, upstroke, ascending stem loop into an upstroke, oval, underturn into a modified overturn, into a Z descending stem loop, into a compound curve, into a descending stem loop, into an upstroke, dog is upstroke, oval, ascending stem loop, oval, connecting stroke, oval, descending stem loop, upstroke. The quick brown, oops, I forgot the word fox. Jeez, I knew I forgot something. Fox is upstroke, ascending stem loop into a reverse descending stem loop, upstroke, oval, connecting stroke into a modified overturn, C stroke. Okay, so you'll find that some letters are more difficult to write than other letters, and even changing the way that the letters are formed will change how you write them. So the other version of brown would be B R O W N. So that brown looks different from that brown. You can see. And more difficult letters are words like WR, upstroke, underturn, underturn, connecting letter into R stroke, and letters like BR, V, 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 to an N. I don't know when you're ever going to need a V to an N. V to a Y. V to an H. So, there are a lot of difficult letters out there. If you guys have any difficult letters that you would like me to go over, please leave those in the comment section below. So, we have gone over a lot today. Those are all of the minuscule alphabets. So I'm just going to do a little bit of writing here so you guys can see what it looks like. When it's written at a speed, at a pretty average normal speed. So you should be able to go Alright. So, that is the basic. Those are the basics of the minuscule letters. So, that is all for today. I want to thank you all for watching. I hope that you guys enjoyed this one. I hope that you learned something. Please share this video with your, please don't share this video with your friends. Follow me on social media. Like, comment, subscribe. Ring the little bell. Make sure it's set to all so when I upload new content, YouTube notifies you. And I will be back tomorrow with another episode of Dip Pen Calligraphy 101. Have a great day. Oh, I love you. Bye.